And that's why Neville Southall can't whistle.
Fair enough.
Hello and welcome to the Phil Shy podcast. I'm Peter Bell and with me as always, the nicest man in comedy, Paddy Linton.
Hello. Nice to be here.
Yes, we're going to start with some big football news. Obviously, he's had a bit of illness recently and he's had to step down as Crystal Palace manager. Yes, Woy the Boy has swooped down, would probably be the better term.
He's packed it, man.
Yeah.
Fair play to him, man. He's about 90.
Aye, I know. I mean, what are we going to do for the rest of this podcast?
I know.
90% of our chat is just calling Roy Hodgson a nibble.
Hey, mate.
So I'm not saying we're not creative.
He's away back to his barn. It's the last one I've got, man.
It's a shame, man. Like, obviously, it's a shame he had the health scare, but I think there was an inevitability about him leaving the club anyway, with the pressure that's building right now. I don't think it's been aimed at him in particular, but more the board and the people in charge of the football club. The fans are annoyed at because they can't really be too annoyed at Roy for what he's done there. It's a very impressive CV that he'll retire with.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to read out all the clubs he's managed.
How many clubs has he managed in total?
So this is clubs and national teams, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to pronounce some of these wrong. I do apologise. A lot of them are Swedish. Halmstad, Bristol City, Oddevald, Örebro, Malmo, Nuchtal Zamax, no idea where that is, Switzerland, Inter Milan, Blackburn Rovers, Inter Milan again, Grasshoppers, Copenhagen, Udinese, the United Arab Emirates, Viking, Finland, Fulham, Liverpool, West Bromwich Albion, England, Watford, and of course his boyhood club, Crystal Palace, twice.
What a life, man. Do you think he done some of a shagging in Sweden? I bet he did, man. You boy.
He's got a CV that could make me have an asthma attack reading it out genuinely.
One of the clubs sounded like a medicine you get for mental illness.
Nuchtal Zamax. I'm assuming that's like Swiss or something because it's quite German reading it.
Sounds like something you take and you kind of come.
That's my Roy choice. He's an older gentleman.
Did you say Viking Finland as well?
No, Viking, Finland. So he was the manager of the Finnish national team and he was a manager of a team called Viking.
Was he?
Aye.
That team called Viking.
Yeah, I know.
Nice.
If you find Viking weird, but you just let grasshoppers, like.
Aye, grasshopper. I'm aware of them.
I mean, Europe, sort yourself out.
I thought it was Viking Finland.
No. Just a team called Viking. I mean, that's a great name though for a football club. I'd quite like.
Was it no Finland that got him? That cost him England, Joe?
No, Iceland.
Oh, it was Iceland. Sorry, Finland.
And the best moment of a pundit watching a game ever on Sky Sports where Steve McLaren's watching it going, I think we don't have anything to worry about, we'll pull this back in. Iceland instantly scored the second goal. He's just, oh no.
He is a fucking bottomless pit of comedy, that guy. Remember he used to sit in the stands at Newcastle with a black phone and there was a theory that he was the banker at Deal or No Deal.
What a career he's had though. Like he's like been second assistant manager or coach at some of the biggest clubs.
He's still assistant manager, isn't he?
Aye, I think so.
I only seen him a couple of weeks ago on the bench. I'm like, oh, shit, there's Steve. Where's his phone? He's tried a shit tactics. 2 seconds, nose on the phone. Offered him $4,000.
He joined Newcastle from Derby, didn't he? Because he did all right with Derby in the Championship. That was just after the John Carver mistake, shall we say? But Roy's impressive CV got me thinking. I'll come up with a wee quiz for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read some parts of some football managers' CVs, and you've got to tell me who the manager is, right?
Right in. So
they're all Premier League managers.
All right, so they're current managers.
Aye, current Premier League managers. Okay, so we've got number one. So he was Wolves interim manager, Telford, England under-16s, Forest Green Rovers, and then Watford.
I've got no fucking idea. I should have. You said like don't look at them.
Aye.
So that like, but what?
Forest Green Rovers is probably the most obvious one. His stint at Watford was very short.
So he must be English.
He is English, yeah.
Is it the Luton manager Rob Thingy?
It is the Luton manager Rob Edwards.
Yes.
I was going to say the only clue I could give you is a very handsome man.
Aye, he's a handsome man. He's pure charismatic as well. I seen him doing a pre-match interview before the United game there, and he seemed like a pure buzz.
Well, they're playing Liverpool
as
we speak. Hopefully they can do it. Liverpool have so many players missing with injury. Let's go to this one. I'm going to leave one of them till last actually because it's probably the hardest.
Right.
So Estoril, Sporting Lisbon, Olympiacos, Hull City, Watford, Everton.
Portuguese.
Yes.
Silva.
It is Marco Silva,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing better than I thought I was going to do.
Foggia, Palermo, Benevento, Sassuolo, and Shakhtar Donetsk.
Right, so Italian.
Yeah, it's probably the most obvious one.
It's not the Bournemouth guy then, is it?
No, he's Spanish.
Oh, is he? Fuck.
Andoni Iraola.
Oh, De Zerbi.
It's De
Yeah,
Zerbi,
thank
yeah.
fuck.
And then the last one, Denmark under 60s, under 17s, and under 19s, and Brøndby.
So he's Danish. Frank?
Yeah,
he
it's
Danish?
Thomas Frank.
Is he?
Yeah,
I thought he was
well
German for the longest time.
He's got an incredible
There you
English
go.
name as well.
Aye.
But yeah,
I
well
thought the
done.
Bournemouth manager was Italian. I thought Thomas Frank was German. It's all one, isn't it?
Every day's a school day.
It's all one.
So in fact, that's leads me to another point. I didn't think this was particularly big football news, but obviously Paddy, being both a Newcastle and a Celtic fan, thought we should definitely discuss the fact that Michael Beale has left Sunderland after what, 9 weeks, is it?
I think it was 8.5, mate.
8.5 weeks. What is that in lettuces? That's what I want to know.
Oh, that's like 5.25 lettuce.
Who lasted longer, Liz Truss or Michael Beale? That's the big question.
Oh, mate.
So I think with Beale, I said this to you earlier. He reminds me of Joe Biden, like, because when he was second in command, he was dead popular. Everyone thought he was quite smart,
Aye.
and now he's been put in full charge. Everyone thinks he's a clown.
Aye, he shouldn't talk to people. Just keep him with with a board in the dressing room coming up with tactics.
Oh, I mean, I can't really feel sorry for him because he managed Rangers. So like,
It's a fun day for me, but there must be somebody out there that's a Rangers and Sunderland fan that when he started at Sunderland was just like, fuck this.
aye. Well, I mean, Rangers fans I know are all laughing at him. So it's amazing how things can turn in football. We're very, very fickle football fans. Other football news: Thomas Tuchel is going to be stepped down or relieved of duty. I'm not sure which one it is. I know which one it is. From Bayern Munich at the end of the season. And it's not surprising, really. They're 8 points behind Leverkusen.
Yep.
They just lost to Bochum at the weekend.
Yeah.
And when you bear in mind that Nagelsmann got sacked for riding a skateboard to work, the fact that Tuchel's even still in charge is surprising.
Aye. This might fuck up Liverpool.
Yeah. Xabi Alonso is now favourite to take over at Bayern Munich.
If you're Xabi Alonso, where do you think? Where's better? Or do you just stay at Leverkusen if you win the league? Do you know what I mean?
I think obviously he's settled in Germany.
Yep.
He's been there for a good number of years because he was playing at Leverkusen before he became their manager. Was Bayern his last club as well?
I think so, aye.
So like he's settled there. He's got roots at both clubs. So I could easily see him taking the Munich job. It's less hassle, and realistically, it's an easier job to take
Aye.
because you're coming in to replace a guy that's been there for a year and didn't do a very good job, as opposed to coming in and replacing one of the most iconic managers Liverpool have had.
Yeah.
Whoever takes over at Liverpool, I think, is fucked.
Aye. Sort of the same as
Yeah, same
Moyes.
when like Fergie left and when Wenger left. Whoever came in after them, no matter how good they were going to be shafted.
Aye.
I actually heard someone posit the theory that they should just throw Steven Gerrard in and use him as a scapegoat for a season.
Just put him under the bus.
Yeah, exactly. It's a cruel way to treat a club legend, one of your greatest ever players.
Statue outside the stadium getting pulled down like Saddam's in Iraq. Can't hit it with fucking Air Max.
Some kid would steal that and put it in their gaff.
But in your curtain.
I mean, where do Liverpool go if Xabi goes to Munich? I think the second favourite for Liverpool is De Zerbi. Who else is going for? Oh, so for Munich, the favourite is Xabi Alonso.
Yeah.
Then it's Mourinho, Klopp, and Zidane. And Klopp and Zidane are on the same level.
And you've got the Barca job that's going to open up as well. It's going to be a big switch around, man.
Mourinho would be an interesting one. I'm not sure if he'd take it, but he's not managed in Germany, and it would be another way that he's pretty much guaranteed to win
Do you think
something
he'll
there.
get offered it though?
No, I wouldn't offer it to him. But I mean, the bookies are rarely wrong about who's in the running
people
for
always
it.
know something about it.
Yeah,
Bet on
yeah.
it. Aye.
But I don't know if he wants to come back to England. There seems to be hints that that's what he wants to do. So I don't know.
I think Newcastle would be the next move from.
Yeah, I mean, that would make the most sense, because if he can turn them into a successful team, that's another big tick in his CV.
And Newcastle are at a point where they don't really. It doesn't matter how attractive the football is. They just need to get into the Champions League.
Yeah,
I think that's what he would pretty much guarantee you.
And obviously, with their money, it's like they could offer him that kind of contract, and he's a big superstar name that would appeal to that ownership.
Yeah.
And it looks like Dan Ashworth's not going to be there to tell them that might not be a good idea anymore. So that could be a bit of a problem for them.
Gardening leave.
I suppose actually a good shout for Liverpool would be Nagelsmann, when he leaves Germany. Yeah, because he's from the Red Bull. That's where he made his name, that gegenpressing style of football. So it might make sense for them to go for him. But I don't know. He's a very good manager, and I think he got absolutely shafted by Bayern. Other news: Jim Ratcliffe completed his 27.7% takeover of Manchester United. Yeah. So they're hoping he's hoping it's going to be the first step to buying it outright, but he's basically in charge of football now.
I was reading the day that apparently he wants to build a new stadium.
I think he was saying that he certainly wants to make massive improvements to Old Trafford. Because, like he says, it needs so much work for a stadium that big to represent that football club to be in such disrepair. He wants to sort it.
Maybe the new stadium will be the theatre of modest dreams, and you just win like the Europa League or something. Do you know what I mean?
The theatre of realistic ambitions.
Fifth in the league.
But the thing is, like, Man U fans are getting dead excited. Like, oh, this is a Man U fan coming in to own the club. Yeah. He's ran football clubs before, so he'll know what he's doing. His time at Nice hasn't exactly been a raging success. They finished 5th, 9th, 5th and 9th, which almost sounds like he's trying to send a message via league position.
Binary code.
His transfer policy hasn't exactly been brilliant. In fact, I've got a quote from captain of the club. I don't know if he's still captain because this was last year. Dante, who is still playing football.
Yeah, man.
Wild.
I only saw him in FIFA like a few weeks ago, and his pace is like 28, man.
Yeah, of course.
No, 70, man.
I think he was in FIFA like 20 years ago. But this is what he said. We lost 10 players, then 10 arrived. There is a lack of coherence somewhere. I'm sorry to say that. If the captain of the football club's saying that about how the club's been running, I wouldn't get too excited about him coming in. But he seems to be making good decisions. He got that, is it Omar Ebedi or Eddie or something like that from Omar Bereda from Man City for the chief of football operations, and Dan Ashworth is a proven success at finding players and running football clubs well. He did it very well at Brighton, and he was the guy that sort of brought in Bruno Guimaraes and Tonali and all that for Newcastle. So at least they do seem to be making smart footballing decisions. So it might work out well, but I wouldn't bet on it, you know.
Nah.
And he did say, look, it's going to be 2 or 3 seasons before you'll properly see what we're trying to do here.
But man, you don't get 2 or 3 seasons.
Well, he will, because he fucking owns it.
I know, but like, no manager ever gets 2 or 3 seasons to.
Well, I mean, Ten Hag's doing a good job.
He's hanging on there.
So maybe they can turn it around at City, but history suggests that it's not guaranteed. Put it that way. This isn't really news, but it was recently the anniversary of Robert Lewandowski scoring 5 goals in 9 minutes.
What a fucking...
off the bench, I should say as well.
One of them was like a scissor kick as well,
man.
Yeah,
like they were all like good goals, and that caused a social media interaction that we'll put a wee photo of here, which is a guy saying Lady Gaga wrote, what was it, Born This Way in 10 minutes, and a guy just replied, Robert Lewandowski scored 5 goals in 9. It's just magical. Just magical. But it got me thinking about like what's the best individual performances by a player that you've seen, like TV or live. You got any standouts right now?
Zidane, mate.
What?
against Brazil.
Against Brazil, yeah.
World Cup semi-final. Second last game he ever played as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's the twilight of his career, and he completely ran the show.
Every touch he took, because obviously he didn't have a lot of pace. He didn't have a lot of pace to begin with anyway. But every touch he took just took 3 or 4 players at the game, and he would just do like wee fucking touches and just make hundreds of space for himself. Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, it was the turns as well, and it was all like you say, it was all like first touch control, the first touch passing. This was a really good Brazil team. This isn't like it wasn't like a weak side.
There's a YouTube like compilation of his best moments in that game, and it's about 28 minutes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's how much he ran that game.
I urge you, if you're young and you're not familiar with Zidane, like you're part of the Messi Ronaldo generation, go watch that video.
Aye.
And you'll understand why your dad bangs on about Zidane so much, because up until Messi, he was the best player I'd ever seen. And he's still up there, man.
Bangs on about this. Sounds like the worst slagging off. My dad, about your dad bangs on about Zidane all the time.
It's better banging on about Saddam. That's his second mention of the podcast.
I know. Like Saddam's just he didn't even appear on the notes, but fuck it, he's here now.
Some other ones I wanted to mention: Kaká for AC Milan against Man United.
Yeah,
the one where he scores that like he heads it past two defenders that collide into each other. It was just brilliant. Runs. Like prime Kaká was such an elegant footballer to watch. He just made the game look so easy, and he was hands down at his peak the best player in the world during that period. But
he was superb.
He fell off a cliff.
Broke our hearts in the Champions League as well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
watch that. Every time I see it, I'm just screaming at Neil Lennon to hack him. Like, hack him. You're not going to catch him. Just hit him, man.
And it's not like it would be out of character for Lennon.
I know exactly. That's what you do. It's not like
that's your joke. We spoke to Dan about it as well, about this performance, Suarez versus Norwich. Like, cause he scored 4 goals in that game, and 3 of them could have easily won goal of the month.
I'm sure 1 and 1 goal of the season as well.
There was a half volley from like miles out, and then there was one where he flicks it over the defender like Letizia, and then just volleys it right into the bottom corner. It was amazing. And then there was like this weird kind of overhead kick thing he does, and then he scores a free kick to wrap it all up. It was just that's when he was at his best, though, that season. Best in England, obviously. It was fantastic for Barca as
and he got a deep fried baby at the chippy for the cards on the game. Just ate away.
He likes to bite people.
He loves biting people. It's his favourite thing. We've all got our things. His thing is biting cunts in front of 60,000 people.
Well, why
and he's going to get away with it.
Why bite someone in private? You know, he's an exhibitionist.
Biting Chiellini and Ivanovic, 2 pure nutcases.
Like. No. He was a brave man. He was a brave man. Some honourable mentions from myself that didn't quite make the cut. Berbatov getting 5 against Blackburn. Yep. And it being Berbatov, it just was amazing to watch. Henry dismantling Leeds. He scored 4 goals, but he did that to a lot of people. And every single game that Messi's played in his entire career.
every single game, man.
I took to the old interwebs and asked some people in football forums. Got a few. I can't believe that we forgot this, but Bale against Inter Milan.
Oh, fuck, aye.
From left back, he scores a hat-trick.
He scored like the same goal twice as well, where he just like runs in a straight line.
Against Maicon, one of the best defenders in the world at the time. It was an amazing performance. As much as I hate to say, I think Redknapp was the manager. That's how long ago that was.
Pete Bale.
Gary Martin said Gerrard versus Middlesbrough. He was everywhere that day. This is all a direct quote from him. He was everywhere that day. There were points in that match where he was making 40-yard passes to himself. Saying that, he had to. The rest of his team weren't up to much, and it finished 0-0.
I was going to say, this doesn't ring any bells.
Textbook Liverpool.
Do you remember Gerrard and that 0-0 against Middlesbrough? When was it? 2007, mate. What about the FA Cup final? Do you know what I mean?
Olympiacos.
Aye.
Fucking, oh, Jesus. Rooney's debut for United against Fenerbahce.
Is that when he had to rip the shirt? So it didn't fit around his neck. He had to rip the collar of his top.
Scored a hat-trick in his debut in the Champions League. And everyone was just like, oh yeah, this boy is actually special. Someone said Larson against Arsenal for Barcelona, because he came on the final and turned the game around. But I don't think he's been on the pitch long enough to really call that, put that in the same category. Someone said David Marshall and Fraser Forster versus Barcelona for Celtic. Forster got the nickname La Gran Muralla from it, so the Great Wall. And finally, just because I wanted to say the name, I've not heard this guy's name in ages, Christophe Dugarry. For Birmingham against Southampton, scored 2 goals, and when the referee asked him to come over, he stood still, pointed to the ground, and demanded the referee come to him.
Fair play to him then. The
World Cup winner,
mate. Speaking of World Cup, going back to 86 Maradona's
Yeah.
performance against England, where he scores one of the best goals in fucking World Cup history.
And one of the funniest goals in
And then the funniest goal, fucking hand of God. So like I was reading about it, and I've never heard this before. Do you know the name of the defender that kicked the bottom there?
No.
So he's a guy called Steve Hodge. I'd never heard of the guy either.
Yeah.
So he was like England international. He won the Premier League with, well, it was like the first division with Leeds in like 91, 92. But like, so like after the game, he got Maradona's shirt for that game. And then he wrote a book about it called The Man with Maradona's Shirt. And then he did like after dinner speaking tours, like where he would talk about that game and kicking the ball up and seeing Maradona. And then when Maradona died, he sold that top, and it was the most expensive top in football history, for $9.8 million. Made way more money than he ever made in his entire football career.
Yeah, think about it when he was playing.
Shifting his top.
Fucking hell, man.
Fair play to him for holding on to it for that long.
Aye, but you wouldn't get away though.
I think he was sitting just waiting for him to peg it.
It's the kind of thing that like your wife would just chuck out because you're not using it anymore. Like
just this old faded light blue top with number 10 peeled off the back of it. Get out of fuck.
Oh,
I've been wearing it to bed, man. I've run out of jammies. Pot noodle stand in the front.
Pain, like using it to fucking redecorate. But aye, no, I just thought it was nice to bring up Christoph Dugarry. He's got a great name.
I've not heard that name in a long time.
I mean, it's wild that a guy that won both the World Cup and the Euros was playing for Birmingham City. Long gone are those days in Birmingham. Right, okay, we'll get on to the games from the weekend then. And there's only one place to start. City versus Chelsea. Good result for Liverpool and Arsenal.
Yep.
Not quite the 4-4 draw from earlier in the season. The first thing I noticed was Akanji playing in midfield. Pep just loves using defenders where they're not supposed to be.
Aye.
Like, it's not just defenders, I suppose. He's been doing this for ages. When he signed Mascherano, he signed him as a midfielder.
Yep.
And then started playing him in defence. Philip Lahm, Bayern Munich, best right back in the world.
Defensive mid.
It just moves him into defensive midfield.
Aye.
John Stone's obviously not available for this game, so he just fucks Akanji into midfield.
Aye, on you go, mate.
Aye.
Figure it out.
The good thing is, if Akanji is quite quick and he's decent on the ball, but he's not capable of doing the same job that John Stones does in there. What was I thinking? Yeah, so like they could have just played 4 at the back.
Yeah,
because like Ake plays out wide, plays left back often enough. Put Akanji and Diaz in the middle, and then play Walker at right back. He was like, no,
he's like, no, that's boring.
I
want to have a master stroke.
He really is just fucking about now. He's achieved everything that's possible to achieve, so he's just like, fuck it, I'll just do what I want. Although it's not as weird as the weirdest player playing out of position was a Man City player. Stuart Pearce, do you not remember he brought on David James to play up front when they were a goal down and they did a goal?
Did they?
Yeah.
David James, the goalkeeper.
The goalkeeper.
What?
I'll find a photo of it and then we'll put it up here, but this is real, yeah.
Is that like back when he was a Man City manager, like 2000 and whatever it was?
Yeah, but he had the wee lucky donkey that he put on the side of the pitch as well. It wasn't a real donkey, I should hasten. He's just standing there with a donkey.
Wait a minute, Stuart Pearce had a wee, like a wee gonk that he would...
Like, it's just a wee, like, cuddly toy donkey, man.
Stuart Pearce?
Yeah.
Like psycho, that was his thing. He
calmed down a lot when he became a manager. Like,
but still, didn't he expect him to calm down to the point where he was into fucking teddies? He became a furry.
I'm assuming it was one of his kids' toys, and they gave it to him. It's like, oh, this is for good luck. And at that point, you can't be like, just fuck that in the bin. You've got to take it with you because they'll be watching you on TV. Like, I don't know.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he played David James as a striker. It did not work. It might be the most profligate I've seen Haaland in front of goal.
I know.
Like, he had so many chances. See, you play that game again 9 times, he's scoring 3-4 goals.
Yeah.
But he just couldn't put it in the back of the net, and I don't know why.
Header over the bar.
Yeah, he headed another one wide. There was one where he just didn't catch it at all, and he just like slaffed it wide. I don't know what was going through his head in that game, but it just didn't work. He was playing like Nicholas Jackson, really. That's what he was doing.
Jackson, pure Jackson, that chance a belter.
Keep this up, you might be the new Emilimo. That's all I'm saying.
Jackson, that mate.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's worth saying. It was a good goal for Sterling, and you can tell he wanted to celebrate a bit more. He was showing respect at the start, and then just at the end he was like,
fuck yous, man.
Told you, Pep, I was still good.
I still got it.
It took me over a season to get good again, but I've got it. It was a good goal from them. And Chelsea were playing that way the entire game. Sit back, defend, let City have the ball, and then just try and strike in the counter, which is what worked for them in the 4-4.
A lot of teams are getting joy out of it. Like, well, I suppose Spurs didn't really do that. Spurs came out a bit more, but Spurs got a result of it. It had obviously Chelsea got a result at home to Man City.
Yeah.
So they're not as invincible as they were last season. This time last season they were just winning every game, because that's what they usually do. From January to April they'll just win every game, but they're dropping points here and there.
But you hear it from other like teams, legendary teams in the past, like the Man U team that won the treble and all that kind of stuff, where they say once you've done that, it is really hard to keep the motivation up, because it's like going again after you've achieved everything there is to achieve. It's quite difficult. They were lucky though, because they had people like Gary Neville, and think whatever you want about him as a footballer, but like he would, after cup finals, go around start like chastising players that were celebrating too much, because he's like, we've got other games to play, mate. Which is a bit of a miserable bastard. But
I know, like Camden, you're miserable.
It's part of the reason they were such a successful team, because they had leaders like him in there.
Ferdinand was a bit the same as well.
They just wouldn't let their teammates get carried away, and it worked for them. So we need to talk about this penalty free kick incident involving Sterling and Walker.
It's not a penalty.
I don't think it is either, but it's one of those, and we've said this so many times in the podcast, it's kind of ridiculous. If it's given as a penalty, I don't think it's getting overturned.
Yeah.
So the fact that something can be a penalty that won't get overturned or a free kick that won't get overturned, and both decisions would be accepted, is kind of proof that VAR doesn't really make any sense or work.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't prove that there is a right or wrong call in those
because it's always going to be subjective.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way to take, unless you get fucking AI to do it. Like, it's not going to happen.
But it's just mental. There must be a correct decision about that.
Yeah.
So, and I'd probably be inclined to agree with you that it's more of a free kick than it is a penalty.
Yeah.
But the fact that I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have got overturned if a penalty was given, just it doesn't make sense.
It's because it's one of the ones where like Walker's put his foot in front of Sterling's, knowing that he's going to like his leg has to go there, so knowing he's going to get contact, and then it goes down. Although my favourite part of that whole thing was how he did a wee like flip. Like after he wasn't giving it, like The Rock when he got a stone cold stunner, just sold it.
That's exactly.
He looked like he'd been stunned.
That's exactly what I was thinking as well, man. It was impressive.
He did like you're Shawn Michaels.
A handstand without using his hands, like it was very impressive. I think see why it's definitely not a penalty and why it is a free kick. I think because of the letter of the law, Raheem Sterling is in the motion of kicking the ball. And he interrupts him kicking the ball, which therefore makes it a foul on Raheem Sterling. And we had to learn these rules because there was an incident in a certain Scottish football game very similar to that earlier in the season.
Don't need to go into it.
We won't go into
it. But the correct decision
was Palmer again played very, very well. He's looking...
He was getting heavily jeered.
Well, I know.
But like...
They sold him.
I know, like I don't.
But you know what football fans are like, man.
I know, but Man City fans, like there was probably somebody at the front that was holding up a thing that said "Jeer." It's like they need fucking
like in Shrek.
I like the applause thing.
Why was Shrek my go-to for that?
No, it's because that was a meme a few weeks ago. Like they had like as like a pure studio like. Well, it's like applaud now because the fans are terrible. Like,
but I mean, Palmer's. I mean, he's got to be odds on for Young Player of the Year at this rate. I know you could say maybe Foden or Saka, especially because they're going to finish higher in the league and Saka's in incredible form. But I think the fact that they've been in the league for like 4 or 5 years now, it feels kind of disingenuous to give them Young Player of the Year. Whereas Palmer's like, this is basically his first full season playing in the Premier League. So I think if he keeps up this form, he will deserve the Young Player of the Year. He was fantastic again at the weekend. It's not any individual thing. He just seems really good at most of the things you want an attacking midfielder to do.
It reminds me of Milner when he first started.
Well,
Milner used to like he would play like more attacking than he did later in his career, and he would score loads of goals.
This will surprise anyone that's only started watching football relatively recently, but James Milner was a quite pacey and effective winger when he started.
And attacking mid.
In 1984. But no, he really was. Palmer, he's a good dribbler. He's got a great passing range on him, and he can score goals. So he's a very good player. And he'll give England another option. Like when Maddison's not fit for them, the fact that they can bring in Palmer. I mean, he might even start over Maddison with how infrequent Maddison's been playing.
According to Danny Murphy, who after Bartley had a decent performance against Newcastle a few weeks ago, said if he keeps this up, he'll be in the England team in the summer.
I'm hearing that from pundits all the time now.
What are you talking about?
Don't get me wrong, Ross Barkley is playing fantastic. Like at times it's like Tony Kroos with his range of passing, but it's Ross Barkley.
Like he's been everywhere.
Just don't be silly. If he keeps up for next season, then you'd maybe see it, but then he'll be 31. So, once again, though, for City, it's the big CDM that steps up when they need it.
I had this game on at work, and I said to the boy I was working with, I was like, guarantee Rodri scores. And then it did happen, like about 3 minutes after it, because he always scores when they need it, man.
Yeah. He did it a bunch of times last season. He's done it a couple of times this season, and then obviously the Champions League final.
Yep.
He just always steps up, and it is so bizarre to think. Obviously, we all know Rodri is, and everybody talks about him being the most important player in that team. But the fact that he's in a midfield with Kevin De Bruyne, and he's the most important player in that team.
When he's missing it, you notice it more.
Yeah, it's insane. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. Oh yeah, the Colwell, I don't know how you pronounce it correctly, handball situation for a potential penalty at the end of the game.
Yeah. I would like. It's no looking at the ball. I don't think you can give it. I thought it was merely a penalty because they were analysing it and they were like, they were looking at a handball. I thought it was merely a penalty for like pulling the shirt.
I think it should have been a penalty for pulling the shirt.
Aye. But like the handball, he can't do it. But I know he moves the ball, he's but he's looking that way.
Yeah, I don't think it's a handball. I do think it's a penalty for a shirt pull because he almost yanks him to the ground. Like there's. I don't know why that's not given.
Rodri as well?
No, it was Ruben Diaz.
Oh, was it Diaz? Who's no easy to deck.
I wouldn't be the one to try it, put it that way. Okay, what next? Brentford, Liverpool?
Yep.
Brentford actually started decent, but once Liverpool got ahead, they just looked a different league. Connor Bradley played again.
Looked so good, man. He also scored a fucking belter of goals.
Aye, he did. Like, and some of his footwork was fantastic. Asked Dan about him because obviously we don't know that much about him. He's just on the scene.
Yeah.
Him being a Liverpool fan, he might know a bit more. And this is what he said. He's very much like in the Robertson mould. Can run all day. Loves getting stuck in. Can attack really well. Which is how he's looked in the games that I've seen him. Dan says that he thinks he might be exactly what Liverpool need if they decide they're going to move Trent into midfield.
Yeah.
I mean, that would leave Liverpool with basically 2 Robertsons in the full-back position, which is quite exciting. But
I've been one of these people that's been screaming for ages for them to put Trent in midfield, but I don't think now's the time for experiments.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
When you're coming out of
a title race,
yeah.
I don't think this is the time for it. I think just rotate him and Trent and then out of the team. Whoever's playing better, and it means you've got an impact sub because Liverpool depends so much on their full-backs to get forward.
It's a thing to do during the pre-season, but will a brand new manager want to take that chance immediately? Probably not.
Maybe like you could do it like if like the start of next season you could like fuck about with that shit and like cup games and whatever.
FA Cup.
But like every game like as a cup final, they've got a cup final this weekend. You know what I mean? Like every game is massive. So
or just write to Gareth Southgate and ask him please to play him there and for England in the Euros. But
Gareth's a shite bag. He'd probably do it.
He's an idiot.
He'll probably play fucking Henderson in front of him. I guarantee it.
Ross Barkley apparently. Yeah, see, Brentford started all right, but their defending was atrocious in this game. I mean, their Liverpool's first goal comes from Van Dijk hoofing it, and I don't think he's meant to find them, but he knows that if I hit it long, like because the 2 players are running straight away as soon as they see he's about to hit it. But Norgard tried to win the ball in the air against Jota, just did put nowhere near enough effort in.
No.
It was a good header from Jota to get it directly into the path of Big Juan.
Jota's quite good now for a total guy.
Aye. I mean, he's just a good all-round footballer, really. And then fucking Nunez, right? Like, he's got the ability to do that kind of chip, and it was a lovely goal. But like, at least half the times he's trying that's going over the bar,
Mate,
man.
but that shows you the confidence of this dude. Like, his finishing has been woeful, like, this season. Like, I know he's scored a few, but he's missed so many more.
Aye.
And, like, the confidence of him to cut it back, because he could have cut it back for a wee simple tap-in for Jota, and he's like, no, I'm going to chip the goalie.
What is it people used to say, like, about Andy Cole, that he would take, like, 50 shots and like 20 of them would end up like on target or going in or something like that. So you just throw enough shit at a ball. Like,
exactly, but it was some fucking finish.
It was an excellent shit because Flecken in goal, he hasn't gone down.
Yeah.
He stood up.
And he still got the height on it. Like, he couldn't get anywhere near it.
Aye. So to get that amount of height from that position against a standing goalie and to get it to come down, that's really, really difficult. 90% of strikers in that, since he stood up, I'm going to take it round him.
Yeah.
Finish into an empty net. Not by Kwandy, man. Not by Kwandy.
Darwin Nunez woke up that morning going, I'm going to chip him.
I'm going to choose violence.
I don't care if the situation doesn't call for it. I'm just going to fucking do it. I'm just going to chip this cunt.
But a very, very good goal. And good work from Jota. But again, defending has to be better. You can't let him win that in there. What else? Jota's got injury. Obviously, Liverpool are not going to get any sympathy from you with the amount of injuries Newcastle have, but they're piling up at Liverpool now.
It's rough.
There's a lot of big players that are missing.
Apparently, he's going to be out for like months.
Aye, and neither Salah nor Nunez are in the team for tonight. I saw that before I left.
Oh, really?
Yeah, neither of them are fit. So there's
the cup final.
a bunch of new like young players, academy players that are going to get onto the bench and stuff like that now.
Woofed.
It might work for them because their academies produce quite a lot of decent players over the past couple of years, but it's going to be an issue for them.
They had to take half Nunez as a precaution.
Yeah, he came up, was it a half time? He came off or something like that?
I think if Liverpool don't win like that, that'll be why.
Yeah. Or because City just go on a fucking insane run.
Arsenal, mate.
I'm not.
If you're an Arsenal fan.
We'll get on to that. I mean, I still expect City to win the league, but we'll get on to it.
Same.
Salah, again, I think he got an assist and a goal in this game. He's
so good, man.
He is.
I don't want him to leave. I think he's got to leave. And I don't want him to. It's going to be sad when he leaves.
I think he's going to go to Saudi. He had one where he dribbled through and then he hit it wide in a way that I've never seen Salah do something like that with a ball, like be that poor at shooting.
Yeah.
And then like 2 seconds later he was just skinning people and playing a killer pass and it was just like, Jesus Christ, this boy is good.
Fucking good, man.
I mean, it was his ball that set up McAllister, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like through that Evan Needle pass, McAllister's touch.
Aye.
Like to just lift it over the defender's leg, send him the wrong way, and then a nice finish. That was a really good goal.
It was tidy.
And if they bring in a defensive midfielder and he can play further up the pitch, you'll see him doing that a lot more often than he's getting the chance to do.
Can stay fit.
Aye, I mean Szoboszlai's such a good player. I mean we were touting that like right back at the start of the season, like this guy's going to be special for them. And we released a reel of us bigging up Szoboszlai and saying that he never got the respect he deserved from fans of the Premier League and English football because he played abroad and he played for an unglamorous national team. And someone commented like you guys had ever heard of him beforehand. We fucking had. That's why we were able to tell you about all the clubs he played for before.
Yeah, fucking man. But Liverpool fans are always like, if you slag Liverpool, you get views. So Liverpool are shite. Fuck Liverpool.
as if Newcastle fans aren't like that. Did that video where I slagged off Shola Ameobi? It's the most viewed thing we've got.
Well, you shouldn't fucking slag off Shola.
I don't slag off anyone that doesn't deserve it. Right, that's all I'm saying. Salah's goal again, suicidal defending.
Is that where the boy ran it and just completely missed the ball?
So Ayer's further up the pitch as he's wont to do. He will always. That's what makes him such an effective tool when you're in possession of the ball. Is because he'll come forward, dribble forward, give you an extra man in midfield. He's really good at that. But when you're playing a team like Liverpool, that can bite you in the arse.
Win the ball high up.
Aye, and I think it was Collins So the two centre backs that are there, because Ayer's the middle one, are so far apart that they're not communicating who should go to the ball and deal with it. Collins eventually does. Me's just trotting back so slowly. He makes no real effort.
He wasn't even like running towards the goal or the ball or the player. He was just running back because there was like an error in inevitability about it. Like he's going to score. I'm not going to expend any more energy.
If I get too close to it, they might blame me.
He'll probably skin me.
Collins, like, no strength to push Salah off the ball or deal with it at all. It was really,
he ended
really
up
poor.
in his arse as well. Like.
Aye, exactly. And you don't expect that. Like, you know, one of the things, I know Brentford did a bit different. They played some nice football, but you still expect a team like them, their defenders, to be like bargy and solid, and they just weren't.
Salah's a wee bit of a tank, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, but still, you should be expecting to be able to barge him off the ball if you're a centre back. Ayer was raging with the two of them, but I mean, there is an element of like, you should have been there as well. The one thing you will say is he would have barged Salah off the ball because he's 6'1". So, Brentford penalty claim. This is one of the worst decisions I think I've seen in quite a while, where Robertson cleans out Tony and nothing is given.
I know, like that was like. The ref never even went to the monitor or anything for that, did they? It was just like a check complete.
Yeah, VAR didn't tell him to look at it, didn't say, hold on a minute, and then eventually, like 2 seconds later, Liverpool get a free kick.
That's right, on the edge of the box.
It's just, he's got nothing on the ball, he's just ran straight into the back of Tony, cleared them out. I don't understand how it's not. I can't conceive of the VAR watching that and going, no, that looks fine to me.
Fortunately, it wasn't a close game, so...
Yeah, but that would have made it... Tony doesn't miss penalties.
Yeah.
That would have made it 3-2. Bit more of an interesting proposition at that point in time. I don't think it would have changed the game, but it could have got, confidence for them, and they might have been able to do something a bit more. Because they hadn't been particularly poor going forward. It was just... Defensively, they were shocking. And in their defence, they were missing Rico Hendry, who would start for them in defence, and Ethan Pinnock, who would also start for them in defence. So, I don't think Collins gets into that team if they're both fit. And then, they've got more cover at the back and they can handle things a little bit better. But when you're up against Salah, there's only so much you can do. And if Andy Carroll's going to be chipping the cunt from like 20 yards out.
I mean, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, that's not... You should be short of confidence. What is wrong with me?
Hey, you know what Uruguayans are like, man? Like, genuinely, just, I don't care if I'm in bad form, I'm going to try this anyway.
I mean, shit. Forlan, remember when Forlan was at Man U? Like, he would have like spells where he was under pressure and then he would just score an utter screamer out of nowhere.
I mean, his partnership, that was at Villarreal, so he did Atletico Madrid, I'm sure, for a bit.
Yeah.
Was he at Villarreal? Was it him and Giuseppe Rossi?
Yeah.
The partnership they had together was... unbelievable.
Phenomenal.
Another Manchester United reject, actually, Giuseppe Rossi. They were brilliant. Forlan, it's a shame it didn't really work out here for him, but because he was a fantastic footballer.
He was an expert with a fucking Jubailanis.
He was.
Apparently, he got the ball like months before the World Cup and was like, "This is fucked." He was just like, "This ball is
That's
fucked."
a direct quote from Diego Forlan.
That's what he said. I was there, right? It was doing the pits in Tunisia, right? And we all had our Jubailanis out, and he was like, "This ball's fucked, mate. See if you hit it with your instep, but we'll go fucking mental."
We all had our Jubailanis out. It said something very different. We've got the name of this podcast.
Get your Jubailanis out. But I remember that World Cup where he was just going, like he was hitting it and the ball was supposed to go that way and it would go that way like a fucking windblower.
We talk about Chelsea fucking up strikers and ending their careers. United have quite a big history of it as well.
Yep.
You think about Radamel Falcao when he came to, which is a fun name to say, when he
it really is.
It feels like it rhymes, but it doesn't.
Radamel Falcao.
Falcao.
It's just got a poetry to it. It's lovely.
But he came to United off being arguably the best striker in the world at Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
Certainly, maybe not the season directly before he moved, but the season before that, he was unbelievable, just unplayable at times for Atletico Madrid. Comes there and just falls off the edge.
Same as Forlan, Lukaku.
Lukaku, I think, gets hard press. If you actually look at his goal record for United, it's pretty decent.
But was there no something stupid where he went to Milan and the doctor was like, "Oh, you're like gluten intolerant or something," and he lost that a stone and a half? Because he used to get gypped for his weight. Aye, there was something in his diet, and they noticed it, and the doctor, and I was like, I can't believe nobody's noticed this.
We used to do that for a couple of episodes, like where we would just hit out with a spurious rumour that was probably bollocks. So
Aye, mate,
that's this week's Lukaku's gluten intolerant.
Or something.
Aye.
Or something.
Sue us. Imagine he did.
You're going to get sued after big bread.
That was... Mark Wahlberg.
No, Mother's Pride are going to be on the phone.
Oh, it'd be great publicity.
Because Lukaku definitely eats Mother's Pride loaves. He loves an outsider.
That's
toasted
brilliant.
with some flora, not even butter, flora.
He gets it flown into Italy. Like,
You tartan wrappers.
imagine living in Italy, the best cuisine in the world, and you get bread flown in from Britain.
Bread that's made in like fucking Belgrove or whatever it is.
I don't know what it's made, but this isn't the Mother's Pride
Somewhere
podcast.
shite, probably though.
Burnley versus Arsenal. Who needs a striker?
Oh fuck,
Who
mate.
needs a striker? We do. I'd say.
Arsenal. Some run of form user in just
Well,
now.
last 5 games, it was 5-0, 6-0, 3-1, 2-1, 5-0. So, I mean, pretty good. I'm not going to get overly carried away with it, though, because in December, start of January, there was that really poor run of form where they lost 4 out of 7. And everybody was getting carried away saying, oh, the Arse has fallen out of them early this year. This is just, typical Arsenal. And I thought that was overreacting. So I'm not going to overreact to this. Because if you look at the teams they've played in that time, it's Crystal Palace, who are suffering really badly. West Ham, again, in a really poor run of form.
Yep.
Burnley, like, almost certainly going to get relegated.
Yeah, definitely.
The only really decent team they've played in that time has been Liverpool. And yeah, they played really well, deserved the 3-1 victory. It was a very good performance. But 1 out of 5 teams being a really good team, you've got to take those results with a pinch of salt. Obviously, you can only beat who's in front of you.
On the flip side, this time last year, when you were like the top of the league, you were dropping points against teams that were like you were expected to beat.
Yeah, no, that is true. And the fact that they're not just winning these games, they're absolutely scumping teams. They've only conceded 2 goals in the last 5 games. They're looking pretty solid. So I'm optimistic, but I've had my fingers burned before with Arsenal, so I'm not going to get too excited and too carried away about it.
My favourite thing, before we get into this game, my favourite thing about it is the fact that Burnley had Craig Bellamy
I'm so glad you brought this
as
up.
a manager, like the stand-in like head coach, because Vincent Kompany's like red cards or yellow cards or whatever. It's like, listen, mate, I've been disciplined. I need you to stay on top of the lads today. Absolute psycho. And then they mentioned in commentary that he's 1 yellow card away for getting sentenced. I want to know how many assistant managers are 1 yellow card away for getting sentenced.
Tyndall probably, let's face it.
Yeah.
But you would imagine if either of them is going to get sent at the stands. Company was quite a nice guy. Like, you would imagine it would be Bellamy. I mean, this is a man that took a golf club to one of his teammates whilst he was sleeping. I think he tried to play it off and say, oh, it was just a playful thing, and then Risa came out and said it was not, it was an attack.
Remember his iconic celebration when he scored against Barca? The golf club swing.
I probably didn't need to do that. You could probably imagine a golf club swing, but yeah, it's so weird. That to me looks more like a Dicey assistant manager rather than a Company assistant manager. It's just very bizarre to see Craig Bellamy.
Also, Company needs to stop wearing baseball caps all the time.
Aye.
Like you're a 40-year-old guy.
He is bald though.
So? Just get a fucking hair transplant. You can afford it, mate.
Yeah, but he's got quite a big head. It would be quite expensive.
I know, but it's just some of the combos he wears, like a baseball cap and like a leather jacket. Like some of the fashion combos. I know that we shouldn't really be talking about what I'm wearing, but sometimes what he's wearing annoys me.
Outside a diner in the 60s, flicking a coin.
Aye, yeah, like baseball cap, leather jacket, and then the next week he's wearing like a baseball cap and a fake Burgos. You're like, who told you that was
a real
alright?
Burgos, Fids?
I know.
You know, Vinny.
Pair of Timbies. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
What was is there anything else to say about Craig Bellamy?
There's so much to be said about Craig Bellamy.
That's true, actually, but we don't have time for that today. 4 minutes in, Odegaard scores an absolute cracker.
Yeah.
He's found his form again, which is probably a big part of the reason they are scoring so many goals. He's completely controlling that midfield. Obviously, you've got Rice doing a great job of sweeping up and just making sure everything's tidy for him, and then getting the ball to him. again, we mentioned it with Palmer, the range of passing. Like, he can sit deep and play it long into the wingers, and they're in brilliant form just now as well. Or he'll do a nice wee turn, play short passes, and get himself forward. And the first goal absolutely arrows it into the net.
It's
like,
a peach.
He's looking really, really good.
I've said this before, but he plays like Ozil, but like more consistent.
Yeah, he's more of a goal threat probably than Ozil as well. Ozil, like, one of the best assisters that the league's seen, but the fact that we talked about it last week with like that Lampard Zidane arriving at the edge of the box to score. He's doing that more and more frequently now, and it's really important that Arsenal spread the goals around because, like we say, they don't have a standout striker. So his improvement in finding form has really been a big part of it.
Who was playing through the middle?
I think it was Trossard that was through the middle.
So it was,
and it worked really well.
He missed a couple, but he did score eventually.
Yeah, and he's good for that. He's good for a goal. Martinelli played really well. He's beginning to reach that sort of potential that people saw in him.
He looks good.
Getting more and more consistent. He's scoring more. He's getting more assists.
He looked bigger this season as well.
I thought that about Saka
Like,
as
remember
well. They've been bulking up.
This happened with Ronaldo as well, like where he was kind of like sort of a bit skinny and then just came back one year a fucking absolute unit.
Yeah. It's a good thing though because he was very, very skinny.
Yeah,
and Saka always looked to be as well. So the fact that they've bulked up a little bit is useful for both of them. I'm trying. What else is there? The penalty claim. The penalty, not the claim. Burnley player claiming he didn't touch him.
I know.
Like, so mate, if you fucking
cleaned him straight out, man. Like, and then like that reminded me of like old Italian defenders used to do that. Like so, like like fucking like Maldini would just wipe somebody out and then turn around and be like, me? What?
No, but you believe Maldini with that? You'd be like, no, that's Maldini. There's no way he's fouled anybody.
But I like you see like Nesta would just boot somebody in the back of the head and then turn around and be like, what?
Mate, I'm Nesta.
Talking about could have fronted.
But that's Italian defenders. Like, the best defenders in the world. But, they did love taking advantage. I actually felt a bit sorry for Trafford because he almost gets there with the penalty.
He fucking hesitated.
I don't know if
so weird. Like
something Saka did made him think last minute, oh, he's going to change and go in the opposite direction.
But like I can't remember a goalie ever doing that. Like kind of stopping mid diving and going again.
If he had continued and dived the full way, he's saving that.
Because like with penalties, it's most of the time it's a guessing game or try to read the player's body language. But once you pick a direction, just go.
Yeah,
like that's thing today.
That's what Shearer says about taking a penalty.
Pick your direction
and do not change your mind and just smack it as hard as you can.
So like I don't think you'd ever say that about keeper.
No.
I don't rate him, by the way.
Trafford?
No.
He's very young.
He is dead young, but there's been multiple times where he just comes out, runs into an attacker and hits the deck. It's like a keeper almost diving.
Yeah.
And it annoys me.
I think also because he's young and English, you saw it when Pickford came through at Sunderland. If there's a young sort of vaguely promising English goalkeeper, people just jump on it straight away and they get overhyped. He could be a good goalkeeper and he could have a long career in the Premier League if he moves from Burnley. He
needs to move at the end of the season if he wants to stay in the Premier
But there was no doubt about Saka's second goal though.
Nah.
What a finish that was.
A rocket.
The switch of the feet as well. You got to say for the defender, they've done the exact right thing. Saka's left footed, show him down the outside onto his right. And he was just like, well, fucking watch this.
He doesn't score a lot with his right, does he?
No, but I'm imagining that's something that he's been told to work on. And I mean, it was a great finish out of the roof of the net, and there was no way the keeper was saving that. Like I said, I think he looks stronger, and he just looks like a more rounded footballer these days. He's looking very good, and they will need him and Martinelli to be in good form for the rest of the season. If they're going to continue this push. I mean, there's only 3 points between the top three right now.
Apparently that's not happened since like 2016 or something.
Yeah. What's it? 57, 56, 55?
Yeah.
All in the same games played. Obviously that will be changing as we speak with Liverpool, but we have a title race, which is for now.
It's just good to have one.
Yeah, as long as it lasts. Another goal for Trossard, like we said. We've sang his praises often enough, so we're not going to like rattle on about it.
He looked like he needed it as well. When he was celebrating, it was like more relief than anything.
He'd had a few chances, like you said. But I just wanted to remind people that he was our backup plan to Mudryk.
Was he?
When Mudryk went to Chelsea,
How much did he cost?
25 million.
Quarter the price. 4 times the player.
Yeah. So again, thank you, Chelsea. Thank you. Havertz scored exactly the kind of goal that got him signed by Chelsea to Leverkusen. Good dribbling. Got a little bit lucky with a bounce off a defender, but the play generally was good. You know, he had a bit of a resurgence where he scored 4 and 7 or something like that. I can't remember earlier in the season.
Hadn't he scored in the last 6 or 7 games?
And then he fell off. Yeah, he fell off again. He needs to stay consistent. He'll get into that Germany team anyway, because they really like him, and he tends to play well for Germany, and they just don't have many other options in that position. He'll probably play up front for them, I reckon.
I think he's a good player to have in the team. I know you don't entirely rate him, but
I can see
do a job
if he reaches his potential, and if it just consistency. That's all. If he plays consistently well, then he's definitely got the potential to be an absolute top player. But he doesn't do it often enough. He'll have little spells where he's really good, or he'll do a couple of things in a match that are really good. But I mean, was it against Newcastle that he somehow escaped a red card? So I mean, I don't know. It's too easy to make fun of him and say that he's not that brilliant. But I hope he does. I hope he reaches his potential, because he could be an outstanding footballer. And he just seems like a decent guy as well. So
not a sound cunt.
Aye, it'd be nice. What can we say about Burnley? The experiment's not really worked.
No, fucked.
Trying to play that way as a promoted club, it doesn't. I think there's an element of company. He doesn't really care what happens to Burnley. He's trying to market himself. He's showing other clubs in the Premier League, look at how I get my teams to play football.
Yeah.
So that if they go down, say West Ham, who are currently fans are annoyed at the way they're playing football.
Yeah.
He's like, well, look how I play football. And then that might make him more marketable.
But is that going to get you a job getting relegated soundly?
Not necessarily, but I've seen managers who got teams relegated. Look at Marco Silva.
Yeah.
He got Hull playing some really nice football. They got relegated, but then he got moved to Watford and then Everton afterwards, and it's kind of panned out all right for him. So I think he cares more about
just having a style of football
than he does Burnley staying in the league. And I'm not saying that to be call out company, because I think he's quite a nice guy. He seems like a decent lad.
I think he will be a good manager. He was a great captain.
A brilliant captain, and one of the best defenders in the Premier League era, I would say. But I mean, you can't really blame him. He's got no ties to Burnley, no reason to be die hard Burnley.
You can just tell for what he wears to the games. He doesn't really care about that.
You're not letting that go. Okay, we'll do a quick bit on Spurs versus Wolves. I seem to recall at the start of the season you teasing me.
What?
No, not that way. Although you did do that. About do you think Spurs will finish above Arsenal this season? I'm not. You can't really be too surprised, because Wolves have got that in them this season. They've played really well in a bunch of games, and Neto once again was outstanding.
For the second goal especially, man. He done splinting.
He's not the fastest player in the world, but he can outpace a lot of people. But it's the speed of his feet when he's dribbling. He's got a lot of strength for someone like his frame. You wouldn't expect him to be able to hold off defenders the way he can. And again, so many other players that we've talked about, it's just in the final third he always makes the right decision.
Watching the highlights, I knew the result, but I had the feeling of Spurs have scored so many goals, especially at home this season, and it looked like they were going to do it again until Ben Davies made one of the best clearing headers I've ever seen in my entire life when he's in front of the goal.
Who was it earlier in the season? Was it Fernandes that did that?
He'd a 50 pence piece, man.
But I mean, Davies has played at centre back, so you'd think he'd be able to.
It was horrific. It looked like a clearance.
Yeah, that was. If you haven't seen that header, go watch it, because it is fucking funny, man. It's really funny. But yeah, that was really, really. I forgot about that until you just brought it up there. But no, I think Wolves deserved the win. Their first goal, terrible marking from Spurs though. Yao Gomez is completely unmarked.
Yep.
and he just like he's in the middle of the box. Could not be more central. Could not be more obvious to every defender around him.
Yep.
And nobody's on him. You just get a free header.
He's no massive dude either.
No. It's a decent header, but it's easy to do when you've got no one marking you.
Yeah.
Like, it was insane. They gave them a bit of a boost because they had a few chances after that. Vicario made an unbelievable save from Sarabia. Is it Sarabia? Aye. It was offside in the end anyway, but the reactions and the strength to push it back out again was very impressive. He's been a good player for them this season, though.
Sarabia?
No. Vicario and goal.
Oh, aye.
A huge improvement on. Sorry, Fraser Foster, because I love you, but like
he looks excellent. There was one, I think it was offside.
that's one I'm talking about.
And then there was another like point blank.
Aye.
And he just looks good with his feet and everything.
Yeah,
he's got
yeah.
the full package.
Like you say, like he's not young, but he's still not quite in his prime for a goalkeeper yet.
Aye.
So he's still got
space.
space to improve, but he's like 26, 27, so he's still got a good few years out of him. And the fact that they signed him at like nowhere, no one was talking about not Sarabia, Vicario, and he's just turned out to be a very, very good goalie. It was quite a tame performance from Spurs. It was surprising for an Ange team. They didn't really.
They apparently said in one of the post-match that he was like, I'm not a magician, I'm a football manager. Paddy Power got a hold of that and said, he's entering the phase of the players are shite. Like, that's what happens with Spurs managers. They get to a point and go, these players are fucking dick. Like, it's their fault. So a few wee cracks, but I think they'll be fine.
They'll be
I don't know. It'll be between them and Villa for champions and maybe Man U, depending on how they go on for the next few weeks.
But like for them though, it was quite toothless. I didn't think they really created much. Kulusevski scored a fantastic goal. He's a very, very good player. But aside from that, Sam made like a relatively smart save from him as well. Not long after that, but they didn't create too much. And Wolves, in the end, deserved winners of the game. Wolves look good. They'll probably finish mid-table, which they'll be happy with. And like you say, Spurs will fight for fourth. But Villa are having a bit of a shaky time at the moment as well. So that genuinely is a race for that spot, which is exciting. We've got a couple of races in the Premier League now. Let's see if we've got time to Luton Man U.
Nah, Man U. Good result. I've developed I've developed a real soft spot for Luton. They're giving me the same vibes I used to get after. Remember Blackpool for that one season? Yeah. I'm getting the same vibes after them. Well, they're just gonna and gain it a goal.
Against Man United, they had more of the ball. They had more shots.
That's the first 5 minutes. It's
insane. Man United didn't deserve to win that in the same way that they didn't really deserve to win against West Ham or Wolves. But they got the result and. We get very good play from Højlund, who's beginning to look.
His second goal was a fucking belter.
The chest.
Aye.
Like, the first goal was a really smart finish as well, so credit to him. I want to say one quick word on Forest West Ham, and that is that Calvin Phillips went out on loan to try and get back in the England squad, and I think he's actively doing harm to his chances by being on loan.
Actively doing harm to West Ham, mate.
So, first game, makes a mistake that leads to a goal. Second game makes a mistake that leads to a goal. This game gets red carded and fully deservedly so. When you've got competition that's based, these are some of the players that so I've not even included Declan Rice or Bellingham, who could play in that position, but James Ward-Prowse, Curtis Jones, Loftus-Cheek, Conor Gallagher, Henderson, Trent and Stones can both play there as well. So
he's not getting anything.
And of course Ross Barkley. So Forest deserved to win and they needed that because like we say, Luton are looking like they might recover and possibly stay up, and if Forest are going to get points deduction, they'll need all the points they can get before that happens. So I think that's us pretty much done. We're going to go to the pub now. So
nice.
So it's goodbye from Patrick.
Goodbye.
And goodbye from me. Stay fresh, cheese bags.